Hello and welcome to the patron exclusive episode of Spoilercast for this week, and it's Halloween, kiddies. So yeah, while of course our official last episode was Barbarian this weekend, Saturday, you here on Patreon, our paying audience, are getting the actual Halloween episode. And yes, as we have...
Because you said last episode, I was like, hold on, it's not last episode, it's the
Halloween
last
episode.
Halloween
it's
episode.
The Halloween finale, yes. I think we talked about it before, but now it's official, yes. We're doing a double feature today, and we're doing something a little bit special. We're going to talk about Terrifier 1 and 2. Yes. Which is both, for both of us, new movies, right? Yeah.
Yes. Completely.
Yeah, had you heard of Terrifier before?
I've seen Art the Clown, not knowing that it's Art the Clown or Terrifier. I've just seen the face, I think.
Yeah, me.
But that's about it.
Me too. I had heard about Terrifier and seen the poster for the first movie. And I've always thought that people saying like, oh yeah, it's this great like indie slasher flick, and I was like, yeah, it's probably going to be a low budget crap, you know, and just because they have a clown, people think it's cool. But then the second one came out now earlier this year, like a month ago or something.
I think a lot of places had it premiering now in October, actually.
Yeah, some of them did. And it's of course released online now in the end of October. So I was like, and it was people were talking about it. Well, before it was released, people were like, oh, there were like articles going like it's a 2-hour horror movie, and it's like some people are calling it the I remember like the Casablanca of horror movies, and I was like, what? Like it's supposed to be this like epic thing. With
you mean the sequel?
Yeah, Terrifier 2. Yeah. And I was like, what? Okay, I need to check that out, of course. But before then, of course, I have to watch the first one, because that's how my autistic brain works. I can't just watch number 2.
Also, I mean, it makes sense.
Yes.
You should watch number 1 before you watch number 2.
But I mean, it's not like Friday the 13th, where you don't have to watch anything. You can just watch whatever you want, you know?
No, that's true. That's true.
So I watched Terrifier. I watched them in the wrong order, because I found out that Art the Clown was actually first introduced, I think, in the movie All Hallows Eve, which is a horror anthology movie, where he is part of the there's like 3 short horror stories. And there's the wraparound story. It's a girl watching these horror stories on a video cassette, and Art is like part of the wraparound story and the first
one of the video tapes, right?
So
I've only seen clips though, but that's what I found.
Yeah,
online.
and then there's a short film called Terrifier.
Yes.
Which I think they made after All Hallows Eve to see if like you could do an entire movie with just Art the Clown, and then they did the long long version of that, which was the first Terrifier. I haven't seen the short film, and I watched Terrifier,
no, me neither.
And then I saw All Hallows Eve, but in the same night, so I guess it doesn't matter. And I was like, yeah, the All Hallows Eve, nah, not great. You can definitely tell it's a low budget movie. And only like 1 of 3 of those stories were actually good. The wraparound was good. But the middle story about an alien like invading someone's house was some of the worst shit I've ever seen, man. It was so bad. No offense to Damien Leone, but that shit sucked. But Terrifier 1, although it definitely suffered from having like no budget,
yes,
I thought it was a really good slasher movie. And Art the Clown was particularly like fun as a killer.
Yes, it does have some very unique ways of doing things and putting out a horror film in general.
Oh, by the way,
but it does also have a lot of issues.
Should we just now dive straight into discussing the first one? I guess. Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
let's do that.
Yeah. Continue. Sorry.
yeah, no, it is a very interesting movie in general, and if you're into all this, I don't even know what to call it, just pure slasher, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what it is. Pure slasher.
Then yeah, you like it. But if you want anything with a story,
yeah, the story is
just no. There's no story.
It's
here.
just a framework to hang a bunch of vicious killings in. Yeah, and I'm fine with that because that's most slasher movies.
No, I'm fine too. Unless, like, if you're expecting story, then don't watch it.
Sure.
But it's fine. It's fine. And it's not my kind of movie though, because I prefer it with a little bit of story at least.
So do you?
However, I'm gonna preface this a little bit. I do not prefer the sequel though.
Oh, really?
Just to
well,
point
I think
out.
I know why, but we'll get to that in a little while.
Yes.
But I gotta ask you, do you?
But then also, it's too. They needed a little bit more production value here.
Yes.
The blood just looks like paint sometimes because it's too bright, and the lighting could have been much better at points.
Thank you for bringing that up. That's one of my big gripes. The lighting is terrible. Yeah. Even in the second one, some of the lighting is really bad.
I'm thinking they might have left that on purpose and made it to match the first one.
To kind of keep the aesthetic going?
Yes.
Maybe.
Because despite being made in 2022, it looks like something made
2016.
A homemade movie in 2016, basically.
But just quick, back to the first one. The plot is super simple. Two girls are going home. It's perfect that we're talking about it on Halloween also, which is because it takes place on Halloween Eve. Two girls are going home from a party. They get to their car, which has been, the tires have been slashed or something.
No. Well, they're drunk and they realize that, well, we shouldn't drive.
Right.
Let's go get something to eat, sober up a little bit, and then we can drive home. They do that. And then they run into the clown at the pizza place.
Yes. Yeah, they go to sober up. They run into this clown carrying a garbage bag. And he's acting...
fixates on one of the girls.
Acts very creepy. And when they get back to the car, that's when they realize the tires are slashed. Or at least they don't have any air in them. They're
one
flat,
of them.
Yeah. So they go into this building to try and find some help.
Well, they call the sister.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my god.
And she's so far away for some reason. It takes her like hours to get there.
Yeah.
And one of them has to use the bathroom, so she goes into this building because it's the only place where there seems to be a person, except for going back to the pizza place, which I don't understand why they didn't just do that. Either way, she goes into the house to use the bathroom.
And that is Art the Clown's abattoir, basically.
Apparently.
Yeah. That's where he hangs out and kills
Weirdly
people.
enough, to be honest.
I think he just kills people anywhere, and he keeps all his tools in that garbage bag.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of people in there, so he just keeps killing in there. But that's the story, and
that's basically the story. Yeah.
Slasher.
And then just murder ensues.
Yeah, he he chases two girls. There are some other people in there, a homeless lady, a cleaner, or a bug guy.
Yeah, he's an exterminator.
Yeah.
And then eventually the sister arrives and she's in it too.
So it's just classic cat and mouse chase with some weird like trans or cross-dressing stuff in the middle, which I was like, where did that come from? When Art takes off his clothes and dances around.
And tucks it away.
Yeah, tucks his penis and starts dancing like Buffalo Bill, and I was like...
Wearing the homeless lady's scalp as a wig, I think.
And I'm thinking that is just, that is Damien Leone, who is the mastermind behind this franchise. He's not only like writer, director, he's producing, he's doing the makeup effects. He's doing everything, basically.
He did everything.
I think he...
Especially for the first one.
I think he just wanted to add shock value. But based on, what happens towards the end and definitely what happens in the next movie, it doesn't really fit with the character. Not really.
No, there's a lot of things that don't fit with the character, which might be part of the character, though. I mean, Art is obviously just fucked in the head.
Well, Art is... Spoilers, I guess. Art is, like, supernatural.
Yeah, I didn't like that bit.
I mean, almost every slasher killer is supernatural.
Yeah,
the only one who isn't is Ghostface, but that's because it's the thing that he isn't. He's just a guy, or
that he is just a guy.
Different people, of course, but
I mean, I understand. I just don't like how they. It feels like in the first movie, it doesn't feel like they utilize the fact that he is supernatural somehow. It's just something they throw into the end to just be like, he's not dead.
But I think that is deliberate. Like, we're just supposed to think it's a psycho guy in a clown suit. But then, he's actually immortal in the end. It's supposed to be the last, it's like Jason jumping out of the lake, grabbing the girl in the end of the first one.
Yeah.
Sure. I get that. And I'm like, oh no, they're ruining the internal logic of Terrifier. Like, I don't really care about that.
Is there an internal logic of Terrifier?
Exactly. Like we said about the story, it's just a framework to hang a bunch of killings on. This franchise is just an excuse to do some of the worst, also though meaning best, gore ever.
Yeah, the most gory shit ever you can think of.
Because that's where this movie excels.
Yes.
The gore is insane. Like
I was sitting at my computer watching the first movie, like I am now when I'm talking to you. My boyfriend's in the couch behind me. He just looks over at the one point where it's the worst, and he goes, "What the fuck are you watching?"
He cuts the girl
when he cuts Dawn apart
yeah.
from groin to head,
and we literally see all of it. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what
he's like. What
that's
fuck?
what really sets Terrifier apart. Where
they don't sugarcoat it at all.
No. Where a lot of other slasher movies, the big three, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, they were always, they're sufficiently like gory and inventive when it comes with the killing.
Yeah.
But those movies were always, edited for a mainstream audience, which means that even though they all have R ratings, like almost every kill in those movies has been edited to not get an X rating or get unrated, because back in like the 80s and 90s when those movies were made, you could not release a movie X-rated. That's like trying to release porn in a movie theater. You can't.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to go see it.
Yeah, that's too...
Yeah. So what I always hated about slasher movies, even though I like them, it's kind of a guilty pleasure, because I know it's trash, but I like it.
Of course.
Is that
me too.
Always cut away from the gore. You get some blood, you get maybe an arm flying, but they always cut away from it.
Yeah.
Because they filmed this super gory thing. Like one of my favorites is Jason X, when he pushes a guy off a ledge and he falls onto a giant ice drill.
Right.
But you don't get to see the actual impalement. You just see him land like, and then you see him slowly start turning, but you don't see the actual splash. Terrifier doesn't care about ratings. R rating, X rating, unrated, who gives a fuck? Because we're releasing it, on DVD or digitally. So they show everything. And it's not just like
it is unrated according to IMDb here.
It's not just like a quick stabbing or anything. No. That's also, he takes his time. There's these long, drawn-out scenes of him scalping people, or, like I said, cutting a woman in half, starting with the groin, ending with the head, and she's turned upside down, screaming all the way until he hits the throat, basically. She's alive. And and forcing her friend to watch him do it. It's sick.
Yes.
But that's
part of the
That's
thrill.
the thrill with slasher movies. And to see how far they will take it. And I've never seen a slasher movie take it as far as this has.
No. That's definitely a unique treat for this one. I mean, Art the Clown is a unique character. There's no way anyone's ever going to do a clown that is this sadistic and fucked in the head. I mean, It is kind of,
but that's a
fucking creepy. But he's a demon.
Yeah, and I would be more if
a shapeshifter, and it's just the clown is just one part.
Yeah,
of
if
him.
there was two dark alleys for me to go down, one had Pennywise, the other had Art, I'd go towards Pennywise.
Yeah,
because he's not nearly as creepy as Art is.
No, I mean, as soon as you see Art on screen, you go, this is it. Why are you not running? If I'd ever run into someone dressed like that, I'd be booking it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't like her friend does, like Dawn does. You don't mock someone that looks like that.
No.
You don't ask to take a selfie. You don't say like, "Oh, cool costume." No. There's something wrong with a person who dresses like that and doesn't speak.
You just politely ignore them and walk away and hope he doesn't follow you. Yeah, because, I mean, even if he wasn't a supernatural being who kills people for fun, he's still creepy as hell. I just want to get away from him. That big, dark, like, black smile he has. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And that's also something we should talk about. Oh, shit, I don't have the IMDb up. But,
the actor?
Yeah, we don't usually talk about that when it comes to like slasher killers.
It's David Howard Thornton, at least in the first one.
Yeah, it's him in the second one as well.
I think so, right? Yeah.
He is great as Art the Clown. He really like goes in for the whole clown aesthetic, clown, feeling, and that his smile. I mean, a lot of it is, of course, the makeup, which is great.
Sure.
The art face is amazing. But yeah, he really embodies Art the Clown, and I would say even more so in the second one, where I'm not going to say we get like character exploration, but there's some, there's more going on
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one is just it's clown tropes. It's making fun of other slashers a little bit at points, and then just shenanigans. I don't know how else to explain it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's shenanigans.
With blood.
With lots of blood, yes.
And unfortunately, terrible acting from most of the other characters.
Yeah, they're not great. I mean, like I say, you don't expect much from a slasher movie, so I was fine with it, but yeah, it's not good.
No. I do, however, kind of like the girl who plays Tara, the main girl. Jenna Cannell.
Yeah, she's fine.
She has, though, there's one scene where I absolutely hate the way she decided to act it, is when she starts hitting Art with the, 2x4, the wooden whatever. She has this stance. She looks like a video game character in the pause menu. She, bounces a little bit back and forth. It looks badass, but at the same time it looks stupid.
It doesn't look real. It doesn't feel natural.
When you pause, when you choose your character in Tekken or Mortal Kombat, they do that little bouncy bounce.
Breathing sort of animation, but also moving the entire body. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so dumb. But it looked kind of cool. She looks badass in that scene, though.
Yes. And I gotta say, her picture on IMDb is also fucking awesome. She has
with the shaved head.
Buzz cut. It's awesome.
Nice.
I was watching. There was this demo reel playing on her IMDb page. She looked exactly like this YouTuber from 10 years ago. Whatever, 15 years ago. Anyway, back to the movie. Where were we?
Sorry, I just realized she was in WandaVision.
Yeah, she played a medtech. Yeah, she's
been working.
Exactly, she's a working actress, which is as much as I love those the prestigious actors who do the big roles. I always respect working actors. It's it's their job. I like that.
Yeah, but she's not just doing weird random shit. She actually, she ended up in a Disney production. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Even though we hate Disney, it's pretty good job.
It just goes to show, man, they suck up everything.
Yeah, I suppose.
Oh, she's in a movie with Larry Fessenden. That's cool. He's always...
She's in Renfield?
What? Oh.
Yeah. She's like a main character, I think.
Oh, the one... Oh, hello.
With Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah. Oh
my god! Cool.
Now I'm definitely looking forward to it. That's
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, she's top billed, and not just because of her name, because obviously K, if they're going alphabetically, she would be first.
She's not.
That's cool. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it even more. It's got Ben Schwartz. I didn't even know that. Anyway.
But unfortunately, her acting isn't... she's the best out of the supporter. Well, is she supporting act? Is she main act, or is Art the main character here?
I know.
Art's the main
Art is
character.
the main
sort of,
character,
right?
just like Michael Myers is in the Halloween movies.
Yeah.
But the protagonist she's
Yes.
the protagonist and he's the antagonist.
Though she's only the protagonist for about half the movie.
Yes, I know.
Because then she
And
dies.
I both liked and disliked that because it was kind of it was
Yes.
kind of cool that like, oh shit, you were 100% sure she was going to be the final girl, but then he's just like, no, and just shoots her in the head completely unceremoniously. It was like an episode of Game of Thrones. I was just like, oh, you just killed off your main character halfway. Oh, okay, all right. It was Sean Bean in season 1 of Game of Thrones. He was like, oh,
in episode 1.
okay.
No, season 1, sorry. And then we have sister, Samantha Scafidi.
Yeah, which
becomes the main character.
Which is weird, and what's bad about it then is that character has had, I mean, they didn't really build up the other characters much, but at least we had followed, what's her name? Jenna? No.
Tara.
Jenna's her real name, right?
Yeah, Tara and Dawn are the friends.
At least we had, followed Tara through the struggles of the night being chased by Art.
Yeah.
So then to have this new character show up.
We have a premise.
Yeah.
We have, like, where she began the night, at least, while Victoria just like, oh, I'm studying.
Yeah, and you're just, so this...
And then she shows up.
This is going to be our hero or heroine now? I'm just like, I don't know.
No.
But it's, of course, you need to do that if you're going to have the big twist that, fuck you, we're going to kill the final girl in this movie. I get it.
So they kind of do the killing the final girl twice, actually.
Does she die?
Well, we know, but it looks like that's the weird
she's
twist
the
about
girl,
this movie, because the opening, the cold opening
take place like a year after, right?
Yes, which we don't understand until the end of the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the movie opens up with this Monica Brown character interviewing Victoria after a year after the attack about how did you feel like recovering and coming back from what happened to you. Apparently, to be honest, I don't remember what happens to her in the end. How is her? I don't know how her face is that fucked up.
Well, she gets he bites off her face, doesn't he? When he runs her over with the car, or hits her with the car, I suppose.
Right.
It's something like that.
He does do something to. I mean, he's in her face, but I don't remember if he actually bites it.
Yeah,
whatever.
I think he does.
He does something, obviously.
Yeah, so she loses
because
an eye.
she is mauled.
Yes. She looks like that woman who got attacked by her pet chimpanzee.
Yeah, the one the lady in Nope.
Yeah, exactly. It's based on that. Yeah.
With one eye missing and the other one looks like it's blind.
Yes. And it's obviously driven her mad.
Yeah, and the surgery to try and like save her face, they just pulled skin over the other eye. They didn't even try.
Yes.
Like, come on, that's not how you do it.
No.
But it's obviously just to add to the movie.
Yeah. Also, like if there's
her looks made her feel crazy.
If there's one makeup effect that I don't think works, it's her face. It looks like a Halloween mask, and even though because that eye, like, if I don't know if it's supposed to be like they pulled skin over the eye hole, because usually
it looks
like it because the hole is so shallow. But in reality, I've seen people who've lost an eye. It's like a flesh-eating bacteria, so it's not like an open wound.
Yeah,
it's like a shut. It's a hole, but it's much deeper because the eye socket is pretty deep. You need to fit an entire eyeball in there.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that is just like. Because they can't gouge her eye out, so they can't really make the hole.
They just covered
deep.
it.
Yeah, exactly. They just covered it. It's not convincing enough for me. It looks bad.
No,
but that's the only one.
But that's where we realized that they didn't have a lot of money. They didn't put money on the makeup. They just wanted money for the gore.
Yes, because that's what's important.
And that makeup part, her face being the biggest makeup, like part from the gore. Yeah. Is probably the least money spent.
Yes, because she's in the movie so little, so I understand it, but it just doesn't look good. But the rest of the effects are great, and that's because
They're pretty
Damon
good.
Leone from the beginning is like a makeup VFX artist.
SFX, VFX.
So I think that's also why he chose them to do a movie like this. Like he just wanted to do what he thinks is fun, which is cool makeup effects.
Though again, I wish there would have been better lighting because
a lot of the
it would have put the effects in better use. It just looks cheap at points.
Yes, it does, and that is because the lighting is very, very flat. It's some people call it like sitcom lighting or soap opera lighting, where it's just there or TV lighting, because there's no.
It's there to illuminate.
Exactly.
That's it.
It's something you can set up pretty quickly. Just make sure that everything is lit. And there's no mood to set. We don't have time to like create shadows or whatever. Just make sure everything is lit so we can film the scene from every angle without having to change anything, and go. It's a TV production, and I get it, because it's easy to do, especially if you're working on a limited budget. But it does create problems
ruin
for the
movie a little bit.
Yes.
I mean, you have scenes where it's fine, where they've created moods and shadows, but it still looks kind of cheap. Like when they're in the car talking, it's obvious that there's just someone standing with a headlight shining it through the windshield. But it looks fine. Like that's more or less what it would look like.
I have no problems with those kind of solutions. No. It's just in general it's a little flat. You can always just with a minimal amount of work, you can actually make it look much better than that.
Especially in 2016. Because when I looked this up and tried to find it, and I found the 2011 short first, I was like, yeah, this looks crap. It should be the 2011 at least. Like, it should be old. Because it looks like a fucking home video from the 90s or something.
Yeah.
By the production value.
That is, because they're using a cheaper camera.
2016, you had really... Yeah, but in 2016, you had, like, proper lighting and cameras that you could buy that YouTubers used. Like, come on.
But then again, this was a guy who mainly worked with makeup effects. Like, he wasn't a director or a cinematographer.
No, but he should know how he wants his makeup effects to be lit.
Yeah, I know.
And shot, because that's part of the job. You need to know what it looks like on camera in certain lighting.
And I agree. Like I said, the worst part of the movie is the lighting. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, because lighting is very important.
Because if this movie had better production, like specifically lighting and camera, I suppose it looks like a cheap camera as well, to be honest.
It's not. Yeah, the cinematography is fine. It's the quality of the camera.
Yeah, it's the quality of the picture that actually seems off.
And
if they had,
also I want to mention,
if they had some more for that, it would have been fantastic. Probably.
Yes. Did you watch it on Prime Video?
The first one. Yeah, I think so.
It was available here in Sweden on Prime, and I don't know. Maybe it's just my screen. But I thought also that the color timing or color editing was off sometimes. Like they had like increased the when you just pull the lighting slider in editing to kind of like illuminate some stuff that had been like too dark or something. It looked like stuff I made in high school. It looked bad. Some of the color editing.
Yeah. I mean, at points it also looks like you're just, like, on night mode on your phone.
Yes, it's very, it gets very grainy. Like, it feels like they shot it almost too dark sometimes and had to just rack up the lighting in editing, which is never a good thing.
Exactly. Yeah. No, because it makes the shadows look bluish and have, like, a gradient to it. And, I mean, everything just has this filter.
Yeah.
That makes everything look kind of yellowish.
Exactly. So
except for the scenes where you actually see Art, because he's supposed to be stark white.
Yes.
So it's a weird like cut between him. He's in focus, so everything's just the whites are white, but then you cut to something else and the whites are yellow.
Yeah, I know. And I'm it's those
there's too many small details that just throw you off and makes it look like a cheap high school project.
Yes, and I don't want to be too judgmental when it comes to that stuff because I like I said, it's a first time director who obviously has no money to work with.
No, I think was it Chris Stuckman who said like this was the lowest budget horror film he's ever seen or something.
Yeah, and that wouldn't surprise me. If they had over $50,000, I would be very, very surprised. Yeah.
Surprised.
Yeah, because I know the second one, which has similar problems but looks a lot better, cost only $250,000, which is insane.
Yeah, and that was spent on location, though.
I think so, yeah.
Because they have way more locations in the second movie.
Another thing.
How I just want to say that's the thing I like about the first movie. It is literally takes place in one building.
Yes.
That's nice. It's nice and contained. You still have different areas, but it makes sense to the building. And it's neat that way. It doesn't feel like they're trying to make this like big huge thing where he's terrorizing the entire town. No, he just chose one person, and everyone else who happened to get in the way are just gonna get killed. And he wants to torment this lady because he took fancy to her. I don't know.
Yeah. It's
just adding to the crazy.
Yeah, it's
like you. I'm gonna torment you.
Yeah, it's my favorite motivation for crazy killers in movies. Oh, you just happen to be there. I recently saw this like Danish-Dutch co-production, a movie called Speak No Evil, which it's like a classic, late or early 90s like drama thriller, very uncomfortable because everyone's Swedish, but here they're Danish.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a horror movie, and I'm like, what is going on here? But then the last 20 minutes happens. Sorry, I'm going off it. And it's the most horrific shit I've ever seen. I just wanted to mention that. But that one also, because in the end, I don't want to say too much, but they just ask flat out like, why are you doing this to us? And they just look at them. The perpetrators look at the victims and go, because you let us. That's it.
Yeah, it's the same with my absolute favorite and most hated horror film ever, The Strangers. Yes. Because you were home.
Oh yeah, and it's so good when they deliver that, because she's so horrified. Like, why have you tortured us the entire night? Why have you killed my fiance? And they just look at her like, well, because you were home. And it's
you opened the door, dumb bitch.
It's so chilling. I know. I love that.
Oh my god! Because I still get. Oh my god! I just got chills now that we're talking about it. I hate that movie, but I love it so much.
Because a psycho killer doesn't need more. You don't need this elaborate. Yes, no, I just wanted to kill someone, and I saw you. That is my favorite kind of
killer. Yeah, you shouldn't. A killer shouldn't have too much of a backstory, which is what I like with Terrifier. Art does not have, at least in the beginning, we have no backstory on him. We have no knowledge of him. We just see him get dressed, put on his suit, and go out to town. It's Halloween.
Yeah.
No one's gonna care that I'm wearing a clown suit. Perfect opportunity to just find a random person to torture and kill. Great. That's all we need with a villain, with a monster, with a murderer.
It's a classic one. It's Michael Myers.
Yeah.
The only reason he's hunting Laurie Strode and her friends is because he saw them. That's it. They ruined that in the later movies, but in the original, that's it. He just, there's a girl, I'm gonna kill her.
And I want to segue into the sequel now then, because I feel like the sequel kind of ruined that by adding stuff. Okay,
go ahead.
Well, spoilers.
Yeah, sure. We're gonna go full spoilers because it's
for Terrifier 2.
Patreon. Yes. It's a slasher movie, so whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, the story doesn't have a lot to do with anything, to be honest. If you're watching Terrifier 1 or 2, you're watching it for the gore, not for the story again. I hate that they started Terrifier 2 with like trying to have a connection between main character Sienna and Art somehow. They hint at the father being like mentally ill and having something to do with Art because he drew him. The brother is obsessed with Art, and they're like, they find this like connection that the dad had saved clippings of the murderers and shit. Why are you trying to build lore and connections in the sequel? I mean, that's what the sequel is for sometimes, because when else are you going to do it? But couldn't they just have, kept going with the first one and just be murder?
Yes, I agree to some extent that the loose connection between, what was her name you said? Sienna, her father, and Art. It never goes anywhere. It's not like I thought they were going to reveal Art the Clown to be her dad in the end.
Yes, that's what I thought too.
But they didn't. So I don't see the point of that. I do, however, like that they spend a considerable amount of time building up her character.
Sure,
Because first of all, that's just good practice for your main character to make the audience invested in them. And it's also because even in movies like Friday the 13th, where the every character is basically cannon fodder, maybe except the final girl. You still want to know the characters a little bit, and here we actually get like proper character development with her. Is it a little much, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah. But I also understand why, because this is, once again, Damon Leone writing, directing, producing, makeup effects, everything. And no one is going to, stop him. Everyone just wants more Terrifier. And once again, it's not like a studio was going to say, no, you can't spend 1 hour building up your main character before you start killing people. No, because he's making this movie himself. Sure.
He can definitely do what he wants.
The whole term with killing your darlings is important when you make a movie. But I can't fault him for just going all out because we it's not like he shortchanges us on the gore. No. We get plenty of gore
it's still
as
there.
well. So I think we get 100% of both. We get full character exploration and full amount of gore. Promise then that you have
Apparently,
a 2-hour slasher movie.
Yeah, according to Possessed by Horror on YouTube, Sienna was apparently a character that Leone really wanted to make.
Okay.
He was really passionate about specifically having the Sierra character in the way she is in the movie, which to an extent I understand. He makes her this warrior princess. Yes. And all of it's based on the fact that her dad just told her when she was a kid that you're gonna be amazing at everything you do. You're awesome. You're so cool, and you are my warrior princess.
And he was like an artist, so he drew her as a warrior princess with wings and armor and shit.
Yes. Yeah. And giving her that armor, while simultaneously then giving her plot armor, works in my opinion. Yes. Because he literally gives her armor, not just plot armor. He literally gives her armor. Though it's a skimpy fantasy armor, which, it's always problematic.
It covers about 10% of her body, so it's not a good armor.
Yeah.
But whatever.
No, she still gets hurt, but the symbolism is there. She doesn't get as hurt as anyone else.
And it's also, I think, on a visual level, much more interesting than any other slasher, because when have you ever seen a slasher where the final girl is a fucking angel warrior princess?
Exactly.
It's a great visual to see her run around, and when she's in the tank, or all the fantasy stuff, and all the poses she can do with the wings and shit. I mean,
it's just the poster.
Yes, the poster's amazing.
Where you have art looming over her with the knife and the horn, and then she's on one knee on the pile of pumpkins with a sword in hand. Looks fucking epic.
You could argue that if it's only for visual, for visual sake, and
mostly it is.
And it would have been cool if the armor was it actually felt like she was actually supernatural or something. Because now it's just a weird costume that she's wearing.
No, but I think it is, it symbolizes the plot armor. I suppose. As well as the knife or sword or whatever the fuck that is, actually. It has symbolized something, because it has, obviously, some sort of magic power that competes with the demon monster thingy that is art. Yeah.
Once again there, though, we don't really get enough explanation about what that is.
No, that's the issue. You have this magical object that is vaguely explained as something she received from her father that killed himself, that has some vague connection to art somehow.
Yeah.
The vagueness is annoying.
Yes. Honestly,
either you give us more lore and more explanation, or you give us nothing, really.
Well, I guess we should quickly just go through the plot then. It's Halloween a year later, I think. So it's on the night of that.
It's when it's
interview. From the first movie.
It's the day after the interview. Yeah.
Art wakes up in the morgue, kills the doctor, and gets out of there. In an
Yes.
in an amazing sequence where he goes to a laundromat to wash his clown
Oh,
suit.
we need to point out the first part. When he wakes up and realizes that he's missing an eye and has a hole in his head, he kills the morgue doctor and tries out his eye to see if that fits, which it doesn't. So he pulls it out again.
Yes.
But then, he goes to the laundromat and we have this bizarre but very satisfying, almost, sequence of him just washing his clothes and finding a friend.
Yes. Which, once again, it's too vague. But it's an earlier victim of his, which is strange that then he's fantasizing about an earlier victim because she's not there. But some of the characters can see her.
Eventually,
yes. I don't know where they're going with it, but I also don't really care.
I honestly did not make the connection that she was his first victim.
They talk about,
until
a little
someone
girl
said
was
it
killed.
in a video.
Yeah.
No, I just didn't. I just okay, that's just a random girl who died. I didn't realize he'd kill her.
But then, the movie then focuses, of course, on Sienna and her brother and their mother. And they're still, recuperating after their father, her husband, the mother's husband, killed himself. Well,
which has also been about a year.
It's
I think
contested because he drives his car into an electrical generator, one of those big powered plant things.
Yeah, but he drove into it on purpose. However, that everything caught fire and exploded was probably not on purpose.
Yeah, was it actually drunk, on purpose or not? Yeah, because he was drunk. Also, it's vague. Once again, it's vague.
I mean, they make it seem like he had suicidal tendencies before.
Because he had
this was just
he had a brain tumor, which altered his personality to the point where he was emotionally and mentally abusive to everyone.
Yeah,
especially Sienna.
Which again, they kind of explain, in the beginning, he was obviously a really loving father.
Yes.
He was an artist and he wanted his daughter to go in his tracks. He honed her skills, to be honest, because she is more or less an artist in the movie.
There's a long sequence where we see her build the fucking armor thing, which is her Halloween costume. Because once again, it takes place on Halloween Eve. Yeah.
Yes. But then, he got a tumor and he went crazy and he started becoming abusive, but she's like, but he was nice before that. It was just the tumor's fault. And then he killed himself, sort of.
So there's...
It's a bit vague.
Vague is the big thing, which is kind of funny. Where the lead word for Terrifier 2 is vague. Because honestly, with every other aspect of the movie than the script, it's not. nothing is vague. It's balls to the wall, right up in your face, horror, gore, disgusting, fucking. Some people would call it the Casablanca of slasher movies. I agree. This is the most epic slasher movie I've ever seen. So let's fuck this.
Except for the story.
Yeah, of course. So the story is Art the Clown is looking for more victims. Sienna goes with her friend to a party. Her little brother runs away, so they go looking for him, and they all end up.
They run into Art in the Halloween store, the costume shop.
He's there to pick up some stuff, of course. And that's where he sees her, and that's
and he just takes a fancy to her instead of Tara.
And then they all end up in this abandoned fun house or amusement park or whatever, and then killing. That's it. That's the story. There's a lot of don't give up motivation in the end. There's this fantasy scene where she's flying but not really and whatever.
Yeah. But there's the dream sequence with the
clown cafe.
Clown cafe.
Yeah. So let's talk about the murders instead, cuz it has some of the most sickening shit I have ever seen in a movie. To the point where you're almost not going fuck yeah, more gore. You're almost ooh, this is a little much.
I honestly, there's only one point where I feel like it's a little much, and it's improbable to the point where it's just that's not even close to how it would work.
Which one are you thinking of?
It's when he is the friend,
Yes.
Allie, the short-haired friend, who he goes trick-or-treating at her door, and she's like, "You're weird. You're the guy from the store. Like, piss off. Go away. Fuck off." And he comes back and he just wants the candy. He's like, "Fine, if I give you candy, you leave." But then, he kills her, obviously.
But he doesn't just kill her.
He doesn't just kill her. And that's where it gets too fantastical, I suppose. Because, sure, he's demonic of some sort. He's not human. But she is. And when you get flayed, you die from the pain.
Yeah, and he doesn't just flay her. He cuts her open.
Yeah, that
Pours
too.
salt into the wounds, literally opens up flaps of her skin and rubs it in like,
Yeah,
cuts her,
exactly.
I think he scalps her as well, cuts her legs and arms off, and then just pokes at her with a scalpel. And when the mom finds her, mom finds her in her bed, completely mutilated. She's basically just a torso, and he's sitting in the bed just poking at her with a scalpel, and she's still alive. And he doesn't he like pour lighter fluid on her or something?
No, he pours,
because doesn't it end with him setting them on fire?
Yeah, he pours something. He
sets someone on
maybe
fire.
That's the one he sets on fire. Because he pours something on her, and he pours salt, and everything just stings,
she's
obviously, because she's bare flesh.
Yeah. It's so disgusting.
It's like, I get it. You want it for the gore and for the shock factor, but dude, she would have died like 5 minutes into that from the pain. Only.
But that's kind of what I like, though, because it is a movie, and like we said, regular slasher movies, every kill is like between 2 and 10 seconds long. And in the first Terrifier, they pulled it out. Every kill was like at least like 20, 30 seconds long. Here they go completely nuts. And like her death scene, her kill scene is like 5 minutes. It's insane.
And the entire room is covered in bright red blood.
I think that's the point. Like, how far can we push this? Which, at some point you're like,
but I don't know
what is going on in Damien Leone's head? Because that scene, just to come up with that.
No, but we've said that about a few other people as well. How do you imagine shit like that? Like, something's up with you. If you even consider things like that. No, but I don't know if it would have ruined the movie if she just died and he just kept going.
It would have ruined the movie, but I think, like I said,
it adds shock to it.
And I think that was the point of this, because everything is over the top in this movie, like we said.
Yeah, that's true.
So he just wanted to see how far he would go. And I mean, it has worked. I mean, I've seen, because I follow Damien Leone and I think one of the other guys who's like involved in the movie. And they keep posting, first of all, that people fucking love this movie, and I understand why.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's.
But there are also people who like throw up.
Yes, there have been several people who have literally thrown up and had to leave theaters
or passed out.
It's not just a PR stunt; it's literally making people throw up, and like I don't know if someone like passed out or something.
No, apparently, because paramedics were called to certain theaters because people were passing out.
And
I don't know if it's in masses, but like
but
one or two,
people have done it.
Because someone mentioned that he's like commented to news outlets and stuff that like, yeah, sure, I want people to be disgusted, but I don't want people to have to be rushed to the hospital.
Or does he?
Sorry.
Yeah, but
because that's a bit much. We've seen someone get towed out of a theater once because they passed out in a horror film.
Did?
As above, so below. The guy who was dragged out by two of his friends.
Oh, right.
You don't remember that?
No, but now that you mention it, yeah.
I don't remember why he passed out.
I don't know if that was from the movie,
but
I think he might just have had like an epileptic seizure or something.
Something.
But yeah, he was
happened,
dragged out of the theater because he was blacked out. Yeah,
he was out cold.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see it happening, and I sure as hell can see people not realizing how gory this will be.
How extreme it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess I'm desensitized to gore because sure, it was gory, but it wasn't disgusting or terrifying.
Well, like I said before, this movie had me going like, ooh, like, I mean, yeah, I wasn't.
I just went, I
wasn't like, yeah, I wasn't like, oh my god, I gotta turn off. But the scene when he starts rubbing salt in her wounds, like, and when it's purely out of this sick pleasure in hurting someone, it's not just, I want to kill. Oh, he wants to hurt her. That is.
Oh yeah, he wants to see how far he can push her. Basically,
I mean, that rubs me the wrong way. No pun intended. I'm all for consenting adult going, at it with stuff, but when it's just in a situation like that, like, it's just gross, man. But not to the point where like not to the point where like, oh no, this movie is sick, but like it's in a good way because the movie managed to shock me, which is hard.
Yeah.
And there's some more stuff like towards the end when he's literally like whipping a small boy with like knives and stuff. It's just like this is extreme. That's a repeat of what happens in the first movie though, because he whips Victoria Hayes, Tara's sister, with a chain with like hooks on it or something. Yes, it's the same weapon.
And he's using the same weapon here on the boy who's like barely a teenager.
Yeah, and then the sister gets it too when she's trying to literally protecting him with her body. It's just like slaps.
She does grab the chain, yanks it out of her own arm, and starts whipping him with it though, which is fun.
That's good because yes, fuck him up,
yeah, like if he can be bad, you can be just as bad to him.
Yeah,
that's the thing I do like with this kind of like slasher in general. Or Terrifier specifically, because I don't feel like other slashers are utilizing that. Like, if the bad guy is hurting you this way and this much, you are more than fine to do the same thing to him.
Yes, it's that catharsis that the audience wants. Like, let the bad guy gets his,
Even though he in this case just goes like, he grimaces a little bit and then he backs away and then he like gives her the finger.
yeah. Yes. Once again, what was the actor's name?
David Howard Thornton?
Once again,
throwing in the funny clown bits.
Yes, like it's like
amongst all of the gore.
He's almost like a mime in some cases.
Oh, he is a mime in a way because he doesn't speak. First of all, Art the clown never utters a noise.
No, yeah, I know. Even when he hurts himself, he just makes a ouch face, but it doesn't say anything. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. He is a mime, I suppose.
Yeah.
Of some sort. Which just adds to the weird and the creepy. Because, if you can't talk to him. He doesn't answer you when you ask him why.
Which is, of course, a classic slasher killer thing. But here, he reacts to getting hurt, but he still doesn't make a sound. Which make you think, like, is he just faking? Like, ouch, ouch, no, don't hurt me.
Is he miming?
Because it's part of his game or something. I don't know. And that's what I like about him. He is a complete enigma.
Yes,
and it's this. He is horrifically like disgusting and dark and sinister, but he also has this like comedic streak in him with the miming and his little hat and stuff like that.
And the like in the Halloween store when he just tries on the glasses and then with the honk annoying people.
Yeah, when he just very slowly just appears behind her and just honk behind her. It's just like it's
terrifying.
He just delights
but it's also funny as shit.
In creeping people out, whether it's with a knife or with a clown horn, it doesn't matter. He just loves to make people creeped out.
It's even that's like the best scene in the first movie, according to me, is when it's towards the end actually, when Victoria manages to crawl through these two doors that are chained closed. And he, like, grabs her and tries to get at her with certain things, and he just sticks out his arm with the honk and just go...
Yeah. Yes.
Fantastic!
I love it.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
The fact that they revisit the honk. He actually buys a new one of those honky
And the scene where he has like the flower sunglasses on, and he just poses with it.
Yes,
it's perfect. It's like one of the, like one of the shots you see, screenshots you see on Google and whatever. And it's. Yeah, I was just like, that's weird. That looks stupid.
Adds some sort of charm.
Yes, which is so weird because he's so despicable. But at the same time, you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, Art the Clown, yeah, more.
He's just, the funny bits are just funny, actually.
And I know a lot of people have that.
Even in the first movie where he has the tiny bike for some reason.
Yeah.
So I was like, what the fuck? And he just rides around.
Yeah, because he actually enjoys being a clown as well. It's not just a costume to hide, on Halloween. No, he loves being a clown. It's just that he takes it too far.
Yes.
And I know a lot of, like, the classics, like we mentioned, Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger have a lot of fans who are like, yeah, I love Jason killing people. I've never really had that. I guess a little bit with Freddy Krueger because he's so inventive without his weird, because he can kill people in his dreams or their dreams.
And they can use more fantasy in that because there's shit that can happen. Not just actually chopping people up and hiding heads in fridges.
But I've never been like, a fan of the killer. Yeah, sure, I like that they kill the stupid teenagers in fun, interesting ways. But it's never been like, oh yeah, I love Jason, But Art, I love. I want to see more of this character. They could make Terrifier 3 and 4, I don't care. As long as he keeps killing people in these disgusting, weird, interesting ways.
Yes, that's the one thing that I feel like they kind of ruined now, though, with the sequel. Because they added in this weird lore and strange, vague connection between him and Sienna's father, they've ruined that. If it was just like in the first movie, that he just chose a victim on random, stalked them, trapped them, killed them, tortured them, whatever, that would have been fine. It would have even been fine if he chose Sienna and then decided to kill, the friend, the mother, the brother, and everyone else. But as soon as they added the magic of the sword and the father's sketchbook, they ruined it to me. Because now I feel like even though they're going to make a sequel, Sienna has to be the hero. They made a Laurie Strode. They made fucking Halloween shit.
I don't know. I understand what you're saying, and I agree to some extent. But I also...
Unless they can explain it away in the sequel, I suppose. In the third movie.
Yes, I agree with that. And I think they could be able to just say, oh, whatever. Sienna is gone now. Because these movies aren't actually meant to be taken seriously. They're just,
that's
fun
true.
stuff to kill people in. So, yeah, while I agree it's a misstep to put almost too much emphasis on your main character, your final girl, I think they can work around that by just, doing a third one where it starts with him killing her or something, and then we can move on to new victims, something like that. I
mean, they could even explain it like just going like, it's the younger brother just had an obsession and he connected dots that weren't there.
Yeah, exactly, something like that. I think they could do that. Problem though, and that's a problem with how fucking good, at least I think, Terrifier 2 is. Do you think they could top Terrifier 2 in the third movie? Could they go even further?
Yeah,
you think so?
You could probably add some more gore if you want. Like, just add the same level of gore. But, instead, in the first movie, they saw a lady in half from groin to face. In the second movie, he flays an entire woman and pours salt on her.
Yeah.
I mean, next one he could, I don't know. I'm not
Damien Leone, so I can't think of those things.
No, but he could probably
I'm
think
sure
of
he
something.
could. Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
You can just do something else that is gruesome and terrible. And I mean, because there's no limit to what kind of weapons Art uses. He uses guns and knives and homemade shit and pipes and chains and everything. So he even fucking uses a flamethrower at one point. A tiny one, but still.
Yeah,
There's no limit.
No, of course there's no limit. We gotta quickly talk about that clown cafe scene.
The clown cafe? What the hell is that?
Yeah, because that one racks up a huge part of the body count in this movie, but it's actually just a dream. Which I think is a bit of a cop-out. I mean, we still get to see him kill all those people, but it's just a dream.
And it also really doesn't really have a connect. Like, it doesn't. Why is she dreaming of a clown cafe?
Yes, and I think that's just like with why is she still alive after having all her limbs cut off? I think it's just Damon Leone just wanted to add more gore, more kills, and he's like, I'll just make it a dream sequence because then we can have people in this weird playground setting singing a weird song as they're being killed and burned alive, you know.
Yeah, but they could have, like, added, because they made it look like she was watching TV, and they tried to make it look like she was dreaming of something she saw on TV. Yeah. But they kind of failed at that. They could have made that more clear.
Yeah. I think,
like, show us more of the actual TV program that she fell asleep to, or her watching it even before she dreams of it. Because now it just looks like she's randomly dreaming of these weird, felt like, I don't know, like Sesame Street style.
Yes.
Children's show.
Yeah, it's a children's show.
You have the audience
like studio,
and stuff. Yeah. And, you know, almost adults playing children because it's difficult to direct children.
I also think that's part of the scene. Like, it's supposed to be this juxtaposition of, it's basically a children's show, but you have the funny clown in the ice cream truck, but then he kills everyone, you know. I get it.
Yeah, sure.
And
sure.
I do enjoy that aspect of it.
How they amp up the creepiness with every, like, detail you realize, like, the cereal box is just full of sharp like nails and pieces of glass and worms and bugs and though she does make such a dumb mistake when she grabs that. I'm sorry, that made me scream at the TV or the computer like, you dumb bitch. Why did she put her hand in the cereal box instead of just pouring everything out?
Yeah, that's just so we can see her get hurt.
Yeah, but what? Yeah, that's just
in universe. I don't know. That has no internal logic. It's just she needs to put her hand in the cereal box because I want to see more.
Yeah,
blood.
But then she does it again.
I know.
Come on, just pour it out. We've seen the blood now. Pour it out. Yeah. Be done with it because that one's just.
But as much as I dislike dream sequences like that when it's a fake out, I still love that scene because it is once again it's excess. Everything is excess in this movie. I love it.
It's just there to freak our main character out as well because she had this horrifyingly weird dream, waking up to her room being on fire though, which I don't understand how those are connected because the friend tries to like maybe the dream was because your room was on fire, but there was fire. But
I think she's thinking of it like if you're sometimes if you have to go to the bathroom and you're asleep, you dream about having to go to the bathroom or like you're stuck in a room with a bunch of water. She was thinking like you're dreaming of fire because your room was on fire, but no, her room was set on fire because she was dreaming is the actual explanation or something. Yeah. Like once again, very vague. What the actual point was. Yeah. But I don't want.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie though. It's just not really my cup of tea.
Exactly.
To be honest.
We should wrap up on that because the first movie, like I said, I enjoyed it a lot, but I gave it a slightly lower score because of all the technical problems. I couldn't look past those, not all the way.
No. And I feel like the sequel has some of those technical problems as well, though I feel like they're more intentional this time because they want to match up with the original.
Yes.
So I believe it's a choice. It's a stylistic choice in the sequel, and I can respect that, to be honest.
Yeah. And we
because even though it looks cheap, there's a point to it.
Yeah, we didn't bring that up, but Terrifier 2 basically has all the same problems as the first one. It still has. It still uses that cheap ass camera. which, first of all, films in 30 frames, which is disgusting. I'm sorry. You should at least just set it to 24 frames. It just makes it look like a movie much more. And it's higher quality though, because it's not as grainy. So that's fine.
No, that's true.
But yeah,
but it still has this weird filter on it. It's still, though the coloring is better because even though everything else around Art is kind of yellowish, he is still bright white.
And
so there's a tweak to the editing, which I appreciate.
Yeah. And then of course, once again, the lighting is pretty flat. Not in the entire movie though.
Yeah.
It is flat where it makes sense, like in people's houses and stuff. But I mean, the party they go to, it looks like a party. It's dark, there's flashing lights. And then when they're in the abandoned spook house or fun house or whatever it is, it's the lighting is better. It's not great, but it's better. It's good.
Yeah, again, it's flat in certain scenes where there is more light naturally, so to speak.
Yes.
And darker when it's supposed to be darker in general. And, they throw on orange and red light just to make it creepy. But I still feel like that's intentional in this one, so it's okay.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's part of the Terrifier aesthetic now.
The aesthetic, yeah.
So when they make
because if they made the sequel like super well produced and nice and pretty, it would have thrown you off and made the first one look even cheaper.
Exactly,
and weirder.
like it's part of the charm. So even if they have like $10 million to make the third one, it's gonna have to look like this. The only thing I would change,
more or less,
is the camera. Just please use a better camera. That's it.
Yes.
Keep the lighting flat. Keep the blood looking kind of weird sometimes. I don't care. That's part of it now. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry if you heard that. The acting is still not the best.
No, because he's still using pretty inexperienced actors.
Yes, they're not top-tier actors. They're not A-listers or anything. They're barely names you recognize. For better or worse, I don't really know, to be honest.
No, yeah,
Because at the same time, if you throw in, like, I don't know, name a good actor, Timothée Chalamet into this,
that would be very distracting.
Like, it would be weird.
Yes, it would.
It doesn't fit the aesthetic. If you have Florence Pugh playing Sienna, that wouldn't make sense.
Imagine Terrifier 3 starring Timothée Chalamet and Florence Pugh. For some reason.
Yeah. For some reason, them two specifically.
They're just fans of the franchise. Well, yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, no, that would ruin the aesthetic again, to be honest.
Yes, it would. Yes.
So, in general, like, I like Terrifier 1 and 2. I prefer the first because it has less story and plot trying to do something. So that ups it for me because trying but not completely exploring the lore and story is just fucking ruins it even more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So But I like some of the details they throw in. Like, the little girl is interesting enough.
Yes. I want to see even...
And the whole, like, school sequence shit, and they're, like, the brother is insane, maybe he's a serial killer in the future. That's a nice detail without ruining the lore.
Yes. I agree with all that. But I gotta say, I fucking loved Terrifier 2. I still...
For the gore,
yes, I still had to be realistic, so I only gave it a 4 out of 5. Yeah, because I just wrote like absolutely disgusting in the best way possible. Terrifier 2 is the perfect sequel. It takes all the good parts from the original and amps it up to 11. And yeah, like I said, the gore is insane. And here, Art the Clown might be my new favorite slasher movie killer, and I stand by that.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would kill to see another movie with him.
Yes.
And it is not just because it's a long movie, but that the way they set it up, like we said, with the looks and with her armor and everything, it has this almost epic feeling to it. So I would call it an epic horror movie.
I don't mind the length, to be honest. It doesn't feel that long.
I thought the first hour felt a little long.
Yeah.
But as soon as they got going...
It's not enough... Yeah. Exactly. There's not enough killing. There's too much building up the family
and you're like,
unit.
where is this actually going? But then you're like, oh, okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
It sort of pans out, but then at the same time, you're like, so what was the point of understanding that the mother is frustrated with her son?
Yeah,
Really?
exactly. So honestly,
that's where the issue is. The vagueness of the story is the problem. That is also unfortunately amplified in the sequel.
yes.
Everything was amplified in the sequel.
Yeah, the good and the bad.
Even the bad stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Which kind of ruined it for me. Also, I mean, I can appreciate a slasher. I don't mind the gore. I kind of like the gore sometimes, but it's not my kind of thing. I don't watch it for entertainment, to be honest.
Yeah.
I watch it because someone recommends it and goes like, you have to watch this gory horror film. Just watch it for the gore. Sure, I'll watch it one time or two maybe, but
that's it.
It's not something I'm gonna go like, yeah, I need to watch something gory right now.
Yeah, it's something you go back to.
It's just not my thing.
No, and I'm honestly the same. The only times I actually watch slasher movies is around Halloween, and then especially the Halloween movies. Like,
for me, it's the Scream movies. The only movies I revisit every year is the Scream movies.
Like
Though, confession, I haven't done it this year.
No, we did it for Scream. Or I did at least.
Yeah, but like for this Halloween,
sure.
I mean, I usually watch the first 3 movies at least around Halloween, and I haven't. I started one of them today, but just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah. A Scream is... Well, now we're just going to talk about Scream. Well, we'll do that some other... Well, we have talked about Scream. You can watch our free episode.
We've talked about Scream. There's
if you want to watch that.
A bunch of episodes. Don't we have like 2?
I don't
3?
know. We've talked about it at least. So let's wrap this up. Yeah, I love both movies, but especially the second one. And this is one of those movies, I can't wait to show this to people. I'm not going to watch it by myself again, but I am like salivating over showing this to people. Like, I want to show this to our mom. That would be funny. Not our dad.
Yeah, mom possibly. Dad, no. Yeah, some of your friends will obviously appreciate it.
Yes.
I don't know if any of mine would.
Maybe not.
No.
But
yeah, this is a movie that you watch with people.
Yes,
I say.
it's when you say you gotta watch Terrifier 2, it's one of those movies. Yeah. And I think not so much the first. I think the first one is kind of, it's gotten kind of a cult classic status. It's a little too new still. But I think in the future, the second one is definitely going to become a cult classic.
Oh, yeah, because it's campy as fuck.
And then, of course, the first one would kind of be like a tag-along cult classic. But this one, mark my words, October 31st, 2022, I proclaimed that Terrifier 2 will become a cult classic, and I stand by that.
You will have to put that in the tweet when we announce the episode.
Yes, I am doing that as soon as we upload this. But with that, I would like to say thank you so much. I think we're going to wrap it up here, right?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting us. Be sure to tell all your friends and family, like we always mention. Help us grow here on Patreon so we can do more stuff like this, more fun stuff. And we will see you in the next one, which we haven't planned yet, but don't fret. We'll figure something out. But until then,
yes.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.